Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for a chat with Mark Fleuridor with regards to his current exhibition at the Art and Culture Center, Black Castor Oil. The exhibition is closing tomorrow, and so we're really grateful for this opportunity to be able to show this really nice exhibition with Mark, and also to speak with him about some of his other current projects and the other exciting things that he has going on with him. Before I get started, I want to mention that this has been a really big week for us. Tomorrow is our exposed draw, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second here. Tomorrow is our exposed draw, and it is from 6 to 9 p.m. with the draw at 8 p.m. We have about 70 artists that donated their work, very generously donated for the Art and Culture Center, and so that you can purchase tickets and be able to get an artwork and support the center. So it's a really fun, exciting benefit. And we have a piece of Mark's, and so I just really wanted to express how grateful I am to the artists that have donated and are participating in it. I hope to see many of you all tomorrow. To the supporters that are purchasing tickets, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And if you're not able to make it, I'll be hustling around doing proxy on the behalf of some of you. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. It's a great celebration of our community, and just really thrilled for that. I believe the tickets are no longer available, but if you are itching, just drop me an email or call the Art and Culture Center tomorrow, and you can get some more details from us then. Otherwise, please stop by and visit us. We have another exhibition opening October 16th. That's curated by Marie Vickles and myself, called Introspective, A Reckoning of the Soul. And I'm so thrilled to be working with Marie on that. So just to tell you a little bit about the exhibition, and I'm going to go back into here to share the screen again. Let's see. Black Castor Oil is a journey of self-exploration and a means to understand. Let me see where we are here. Here we are. Black Castor Oil is a journey of self-exploration and a means to understand and portray protection and love. The exhibition examines the relationships between Fleuridor's family members as it recollects memories of nurture and healing. Through a variety of mediums, including watercolor, acrylic, quilting, and screen prints, Fleuridor's vivid portraiture conveys personal experiences and the protective environments of his loved ones. Through his process, Fleuridor learns to understand his background by dissecting his own memories and family narratives. The exhibition is in partnership with Oolite Arts. Black Castor Oil, the debut, is a solo exhibition, the debut solo exhibition of Mark's. It's in Gallery 2, and it's the first in our new Oolite Collaboration series with Oolite Arts. So I really want to thank Oolite for their incredible support. It's been an amazing partnership with them, and it's the first of several exhibitions. So we just love them, love working with them. And then also want to mention that there's a really great text that's included in the exhibition brochure that's written by Larry Osai-Mensah, who's an independent curator and cultural critic based in New York. Really thoughtful essay. And I believe we have a copy of that online. If not, we can certainly put it up there, or you can email us for a copy of that brochure if you're not able to get a physical copy. But Larry wrote this really wonderful, very expressive and thoughtful essay about Mark's work. So I would love people to then check the resources and learn a little more there. Also, lastly, to give a little bit of a background on Mark, Fleuridor is a Haitian American artist and current artist in residence at Oolite Arts. Past residencies include the Vermont Studio Center and the Oxbow Artist Residency in Michigan. Florida received his BFA in painting at MICA, the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore. He is a recipient of the Red Bull Artist Grant 2020 and the Oolite Arts Ellie's Awards 2020 for his project being held, a public mural in Miami that is just spectacular, and I'll show you an image later on. The public mural in Miami was recently covered in the Miami Herald. There's a really great article about Mark that you can find online there. We posted a link of it on our website as well. Fleuridor is one of 12 artists that have been awarded the South Florida Cultural Consortium Award. Congratulations, Mark. The exhibition for the award under the Florida Sun, South Florida Cultural Consortium Visual and Media Artist Fellowship Exhibition is curated by Mikhail Solomon. It is currently on view through October 30th at the Schmidt Center Gallery and Ritter Art Gallery in Florida Atlantic University Gallery. So you can see his newest work is on view in the consortium, and they're just really, really special. And I'd love to talk about those as well, because throughout the process, Mark, I think we've been maybe a year and a half now that I've known you, that I did a studio visit. You know, you were one of the first studio visits when I moved here, and so I feel like I feel like I've been able to see some progression in some of your pieces. So I'm super excited to talk about some of the pieces that you're doing now. But let's talk first about your background. You know, you went to MICA, which I love. I love MICA, the program that they do there, and the artists that come out of Baltimore. I would love to speak about how your studies, because you're from here, and you went to the high school. I'm blanking on the name.
Miami Arts Charter School.
You went to the Miami Arts Charter School, specializing in the fine arts. So at a young age, like, you already knew that you were an artist. You already felt that was the direction you were going in. And I'd love for you to speak about how the evolution and process of you beginning and how it kind of worked out with the different multimedia processes that you started really undertaking at MICA.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your introduction, Megan, and thank you to the Art and Culture Center for having me, and to Oolite Arts for providing me the access to collaborate with y'all. So I'm very appreciative on that. My work stems from, as Megan said, my family and my family history, and in general memories and appreciation for different people in my family. I was born and raised in Miami. Most of my family are from Haiti. All of my family's from Haiti. And I was raised in North Miami. I went to high school at Miami Arts Charter School. And I was very grateful to have teachers like Andrea Preston and Raul Perdomo, who were very supportive and supported me and helped me writing essays for college applications. And without them, I wouldn't have gone to MICA. So I went to MICA and I studied painting, but while at MICA, I focused a lot on textile work. I joined a quilting club, and with MICA, they collaborate with the African American Quilters Guild, and they help students who are interested in textile work to learn how to quilt from people who've been quilting for a long time and who have a career in quilting. So through that, I took mostly fiber-related classes, quilting, fabric dyeing, and those have influenced my work while leaving MICA. And yeah, so that's what I did at MICA. I also just experimented and used a lot of different materials that would best help me depict ideas that are really important to me. And specifically,
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just wanted to ask, like, what is about the quilting process and from what you've learned like, why did you kind of go into that direction? Was it the history? Was it, the hands-on ability to make like a more
Mhm.
tactile object?
It was more of the material felt the best to me. A lot of my art, it's weird to say, but it's about the feeling, and working with textile work felt safe, and felt like a great way to experiment, but also reference certain histories and within quilting. So yeah,
What a
but
beautiful
also,
word you're using there, like safe, because it's that's the idea that a quilt gives you.
mhm,
That it's something you can wrap yourself up in, and that they do tell stories, and it's a way to tell a story, at the same time thinking of a way that you can shroud yourself to feel safe. I love that you said that. That's really interesting.
yeah, thank you for pointing that out. A lot of my current work is about safety and protection for people that I really care about. So the material was best to be used for. But I also, within the different pieces you all will see in this exhibition, I work with different materials. And depending on the idea, some materials would be best for particular ideas. So
Um, uh-huh.
I'm
I'm
gonna
so
talk about this piece.
sorry. You want to talk about this piece? I mean, maybe we could dive into one or two that are in the show, and then because this is very much a story that you're telling. This is like
Mhm.
a very special moment, a private moment, an intimate moment. So perhaps you can speak a little bit about this piece.
Yeah,
And then it is Saturday Massage. It's in Haitian Creole. So
yes.
Will
Yeah,
Marsquito.
Louis Masquito, which means black castor oil, which is the
Okay.
title of the exhibition.
Okay. Um, and Channel 45 time. That's the last part
Yeah.
of. Yeah. So I'd love for you to speak about this.
Yeah, so this piece was the beginning of the idea of black castor oil and the title of the show. When I was making this piece, I thought about the idea of healing and different ways of healing. And this piece, I'm still working on the idea of healing, but in different aspects. So in this particular piece, it's my mom getting a back massage. And within growing up in my household, my parents use a lot of black castor oil for physical healing, and my mom has had back pain, and just depicting that moment. And also growing up, I had memories within a church setting of people using black castor oil again for spiritual healing. So just using those two ideas together to show this kind of spiritual space, which is my mom getting a back massage. And so it's on Saturday morning. That's the title is Saturday Massage, Louis Masquito, which is black castor oil, and Channel 45 time, which is the channel which the Christian channel would be on. So just creating this environment which I remember from my childhood. And in this artwork, it's me walking in the room and then my parents looking at me. So this is the perspective of this artwork.
Mhm.
And this was one of my first quilts that I created.
So I love these two levels of thinking about black castor oil that you can see, it's religious. She's watching Channel 45. So there is a level of this like spiritual intimacy, with the use of the black castor oil, but also like the functional purpose, like she's in pain
Mhm.
and using it. I'm not familiar with using it is it like a thick substance? Is it something you've ever used? It's like, just like a very fine oil that is like a massage oil.
Yeah, it's very thick oil. It has a really strong smell. And
Yeah.
I just, every time I smell the smell of the oil, it just reminds me of my childhood. So very thick oil, very strong smell. And I just remember using it, or my parents using it on me or my other siblings throughout my childhood.
So it is almost like it's got that secure kind of sense to it as well. Like it's
Mhm.
like a comfort, like a home comfort. Um, One of my favorites is the baby on the bed. I come from a big family too. You come from a big family. Well,
Mhm.
how many brothers and sisters do you have? Tell us a little bit about your family because I think we're going to see them unfold.
Yeah, I have four brothers and sisters and a lot of cousins. Yeah, I have four brothers and sisters. I'm the second to last.
Okay.
And within my artworks, different people come into different scenes. And also, what's interesting is within this specific piece and other pieces, the this is a scenery made from my memory, but also these images, like it's my older sister, my dad, and my mom from right now. So it's people from different timelines within my household
Oh,
to
interesting.
create one scene.
Hmm. So
Yes,
the baby there's your sister, but from
yeah, my
another.
older sister. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so what I was gonna say is I love this baby on the bed. Like I love that the baby is just like, when you're in a big family, it's like just throw the baby on the bed, like just leave it, let them, be close to the mom. And it's just
Mhm.
such a laid back kind of feel that is very that I can really identify with. I think it's just like fantastic. And it's got a hat on, he's just playing, he's just kind of into the mix, and I feel like that's the way it is with big families. You're just kind of swimming in this big mix.
Yeah, a
And
lot
then,
of these I these sceneries just come from my memory or me trying to create this specific feeling and I found this picture of my sister on the bed, and I just felt like it was perfect for this piece. And it's also a sense of collage because this is a collage, digital collage. Yeah.
so that's how you start with it. You start kind of combining different images on a computer
Hmm.
first at the
Yeah.
process.
I combine different images to create a composition and I print it either on fabric or paper, and then I just go at it, whatever needs to be finished with it.
Okay, and then it gets printed on, this is a great example of some pattern work that you sent to me, because I remember you telling me that you create your own pattern.
Yeah. Within my practice, I use a lot of patterns and symbolisms to reference different memories. For example, this pattern is a strawberry candy and mango leaf pattern. So I was in a moment of just creating patterns that would taste good. So I created this pattern to make this. It's mango leaves and strawberry candy, which sounds to me it sounds like very very sugary, but a beautiful taste of a pattern. So within, as you'll see, different pieces have different patterns that I take the time to create them.
So as you're putting these patterns together, that is your thought, is like, this
Hmm.
looks delicious.
Yeah, some of them, yeah, but most of them, it looks delicious.
It's
And
so vibrant. And it does. So, and again, it's linked with your culture, it's linked with your family's culture, what these different elements come from. It's also linked with Miami, right?
mhm,
Like it's just kind of a hybrid of all these different points of references for you growing up, your Haitian background, and but also like the American. I think I love like the juxtaposition of it, but certainly the patterning is inspired from Haiti. Yes, but it's your own symbolism kind of tweaked.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know what the patterning is inspired by, but it's inspired by everything
Yeah,
and everything that comes within my view sight.
it just kind of fuses into your brain together. Everything just kind
Yeah,
of overlaps. It's just it is very joyful. I think there is like a very joyful, vibrant feel to almost like I would say to all of your work. I think there's just a very lovely sense in the way that you play with color. Like with the screen prints, with the way that patterning comes out in the screen prints. This is a great. I think this goes into here. These are your first Sunday screen prints, with this one really great quilt. You have Munmies, November Babies, Moi Moi, and Princess. Um,
yeah,
so maybe you could talk about, yeah, the idea of pattern and how that comes into play with these pieces, because you can see, you know, with First Sunday, there's, the portrait of your mother, and I believe I have a reference image. This is the reference image of your mother with this gorgeous hat on. And it's interesting because she's actually against this green backdrop. Like she actually does have this kind of very colorful pattern behind her. And then it gets reinterpreted through your prints here in various colors. Um, and then also, thinking about Munmies November Babies with that border work, when we look around the perimeter, and then again in the backdrop of those works. Maybe you can speak a little bit more about those pieces and where the patterning comes from there.
yeah. To start off, the piece to the right, Mummy's November Babies. I started this idea of how do I make a portrait of two people, but make the environment talk about them. So in that piece, it's a portrait of my two siblings, my oldest brother and my little sister, and just using the environment to talk about my memories of them. So I think there's another picture of it later on, but there are different symbolisms
Get to
and
it. These are these prints. Maybe not.
maybe not. But these
Maybe
are
not.
the other pieces in the exhibition. Oh, there it
Here
is.
we are.
But
Maybe yes.
this piece is a portrait of my two siblings, and I would sit down and write about them. A lot of my recent works and this work comes from a lot of writing and thinking about my memories of my siblings. So my brother used to play football and
Mm,
he wanted to be a football player. We're from Miami, so there's a Miami Dolphins logo on the lamp to the left, and
yeah.
there's a strawberry pattern. The pattern on the border of the artwork are also hibiscus patterns. So the national flower of Haiti are hibiscus. So I
Oh,
took a
really?
lot of, yeah.
Okay.
So also in reference to pattern making, the pattern in the background is like the beige pattern, and red of the walls are mango leaves.
Uh,
So within all the artworks, it's just different references to different people. And this is a quilt that's hand sewn. I've when making this work, I got into hand sewing these artworks, and when you see it in person, it's very delicate.
yeah.
It took a lot of time to make them.
Yeah. And just the placement. I mean, you can see the stitch work around certain elements like the dolphin, the little
Mhm.
Miami dolphin, and the strawberry. Like you can kind of get a sense of how these elements get kind of collaged on. So again, you start with the surface, you have it printed and then cut and then restitched back on again. So you have several source images that get layered in the
Mhm.
computer and then printed on fabric, and then you collage and quilt the whole thing together.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I have that correct. It feels like, so looking at some of these, I had such a pleasure of giving these tours to kids of all ages over the summertime, and they locked in and they were just, trying to find the different symbols and trying to figure out what these different symbols meant, and the way that, you know, of course, like as an art history scholar person, or I don't know what you would call me, but an art historian, like thinking about how these symbols are so, it's such a long history of like how the symbols are reflected of the person in the portrait. And so it is very nice to think about how, your brother loved football, your brother, your family was into the Dolphins, like all these different kind of elements. But then also, really, they're really subtle the way that they're placed in there. And they also like they date the piece, and it gives a vibe of like when these pieces were made. So it was like such a fun time, like with these kids. Do you recognize the Super Mario Brothers, like in the bottom? And they would immediately go to that, or they'd immediately go to the cross, or they would see the balloon. There must have been a party, like what kind of party was going on. And so lots of different kind of stories can unfold that are imagined for the viewer, that I think is just really special. And I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Here we're looking at tea time. Tea time is, with this teapot is exquisite. The way that you play with the color in this has got kind of a watercolor feel to it within that, within the kettle, and then you see it spilling out. How did you approach this piece?
This piece is actually interesting because I actually started it as a file back in 2017 and 18. And then I gave it a break because I couldn't figure it out. And then I went back on it in 2020 and I made it into a quilt. So this piece was an idea of, well, as my other pieces, there's a constant idea of healing. And then within this artwork, I thought about tea and how drinking tea, and my mom makes a lot of teas and grows plants for medical purposes, and thinking about self-healing, but also to juxtapose within the word tea, which has been used to symbolize getting tea on the phone. So it's back and forth between tea on the phone and getting information, but also drinking tea and self-healing within that context.
Oh yeah, yes,
So
beautiful. Hmm.
thank you. And
Oh
then
my gosh.
around the piece, there's also some patterns I made in the background, and mango leaf patterns surrounding the piece. And yeah,
It's skewed, like there's like this kind of skew to it too, though. This way of like kind of really filtering, almost like a static kind of
mhm,
effect that you have going on in the image, and then the way that the tea spills into it, it's almost like a television, and then you're like kind of
mhm.
there's something interesting about the way that this piece is the way that you've realized this piece.
It's also referencing television all in other quilts, and a lot of I like the square and the TV sense. And growing up for me and my siblings, TV was like the joy. TV. My dad would hide the TV, so it was like TV was very special. So yeah,
Where did he hide the TV?
he would put it in his room and lock it before he went to work.
That was it. How often
Yeah,
did you get to watch it? Like once a week or?
on the weekends, and in
Yeah.
the summer on the weekends only. So it'll be different time, different ways of having fun, but TV was very special to us, or to me, I
Mhm.
believe.
Yeah. I would love to go to I want to go back really quickly to this one piece that I always pulled out with kids because I thought it was just fantastic. Just to stop here real quick though, to look at these earlier pieces. So in this show, there's some earlier works with current pieces, which I think is a nice way of kind of telling your approach and your story and how in your evolution and to where you are now. Um, with the way that tea time and the way that colors kind of mix in together has that watercolor approach. And so these are some of your earlier pieces. This is
Mhm.
your aunt and your mother, right?
And that's my grandma and my mom.
Your grandmother and your mother.
Yeah. And to the left, it's my grandma, and to the right, it's my mom. And these are some earlier paintings that I made in high school. And when Larry, who wrote the writing for the show, Larry Mensa, he gave me the idea of using different pieces throughout different time periods and just reflecting and using the show to reflect on just different moments of art making.
Hmm.
And I really wanted, these are my two favorite portraits I've made. Sometimes I look at them like, I don't even know how I made this, but
Oh,
but
that's
it
so
was
funny.
a, yeah,
It's
and it's
like,
just,
could you even make something like this again? Right? Like,
yeah, it's just a lot of my art making practice is different mindsets, and I think differently depending on what material I'm using.
mhm.
So this was a different version of me making. That's the way I see it. But
Yeah, I mean, but one thing that's for sure is that you really communicate the strength, and
mhm,
the like. There's like a resilience. There's like a just your mom really. I don't. She just speaks to me. I feel like because I'm a mother too, but I understand that she's so strong. There's such a
mhm.
strength in her expression and strength in seriousness when she looks at you. What's her reaction when she looks at your portraiture? How does she and other family members think about the way that you draw and depict them? I know that at the opening you had a lot of them there, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, my mom is very, she's not really introduced to art, but she really loves my quilts because she's a seamstress. So she's really
Oh,
interested in the quilts and seeing how they're created. And it's always fun to show my mom the quilts. And my siblings, they've been really supportive, very supportive. And they come to my exhibitions and support me. And it's something outside of their usual world. And I'm very appreciative of them to allow me to portray them, but also to support me. They,
yeah,
but
even beyond. Yeah,
yeah, my siblings came to the opening and it was a great time.
yeah. Here is this one is you with your parents, right?
Hmm.
So your mother is on the phone, and then your father is praying. Please protect Mako. Would you? I'd love for you to speak a little bit about this one.
Yeah.
And while we're doing it, I'm just going to sneak this super cute photo of you
Hmm.
as a source of inspiration for this piece.
Hmm.
Just absolutely incredible. You can see it, like it's you really can see that face, just full of so much positive energy and youth. Just like such like great hope, and it's really nice to see. But please, yeah, I would love for you to talk about it.
Yeah. This Adventures in Mako, it has gone through a lot of different ideas and processes, but originally this was a poem. And in the poem, I wrote about my childhood and me going to school and my experiences in Miami in elementary school, going to school, coming back home, and how my father would think that if I tucked in my shirt, I would become like the next scholar. And so within this poem, I talked about just my memories and me untucking my shirt before going to school and then tucking it back in and just talking about my relation with my family. And then it turned into a book. So I started to make a book. This imagery was originally supposed to be a book, and I made 3 pages for it. And then I decided to make it into a quilt, and that's where this came in. So there are 2 pieces so far. This is Adventures of Mako 1, and in
Wow.
Adventures of Mako 2 was in the Little Haiti Cultural Center and was curated by Marie Vickles, who you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So within this piece, there's me from my childhood, and before going to school, my dad would always pray before going to school. And within this composition, you can see on the floor there's a Nintendo on in a cage, which my dad would hide games from us, and like the TV I said before, and just reference different memories within one composition, and also having the 7 years in the background and the anxiety of going outside and my parents' fear and just creating this composition. There are different like chips in my hand with the juice, and I also use my school logo, which is a lion, as the
Mm-hmm.
border. So it's on the button and also as the border.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see it
And
move. Well, it's such an interesting juxtaposition. Like your parents are really worried, really concerned, praying for your safety every morning. They're praying for your safety as you go off to school. And then there you are with your like bag of chips. And you're just like so psyched. You got your juice, you got your chips, and your shirt's tucked in, and you're ready to go. You know,
yeah, I'm
it's
so excited to live life and to go to school,
yeah,
get
yeah.
outside the house.
Yeah. And yet there's this like overarching, yeah, almost like that cage itself, like just this like web of security or web of safety that they're hoping to wrap around you as you go off into the world. It's really quite sweet. And I love that these portraits are disheveled in the back, like the graduate pictures. They're kind of wonky, like things are kind of shifted
Mm-hmm.
here and there. You know, it gives kind of a slightly, it's like there's a little bit of an unsettled kind of feeling to it, that I think, you know, we can, you know, follow in that narrative. Um, but yeah, this was one of the ones where the kids, you know, in the groups that I would lead, you know, I think Chad Harris, who's in he named the actual model of the Nintendo, you know, and right down like to the year. So some people really like kind of nailed it and were able to date this piece, which was really quite special. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say, you know, looking at this exhibition and looking at your family members and the way that these different kind of materials come together, um, what were what are some of your overall thoughts like in the way that it fit together and the way the pieces kind of filled the room? I mean, we did kind of have an idea when we started out of what pieces um, that, you know, you really wanted to have included. We did a few loans. So we're a big thank you to the lenders of the exhibition, because we had like one piece actually come from New York, which was great. Um, yeah, I'd love to get your kind of feeling in the way that all of these pieces, as you mentioned, Larry suggested that you do some older works with newer works, and the way that it all kind of came together.
Seeing it all together has definitely made me think about how I'm going to create in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And after seeing this exhibition together, I went to continue to make one solid body of work. And I think that has been my goal since making this exhibition. And that's been a challenge for me to take on because I always, if it feels up to me, I just have 20 bodies of work with different ideas. And nothing connecting each other. But I really wanted to tackle um, making myself make a solid body of work with pieces that all have the same idea, which is
Mhm.
what I've been working on. And
Okay.
it's been great
Yeah.
to see these works together and to see people's reactions. And I also feel like I'm learning from my past self by looking at these pieces.
Yeah, I think it really has been a joy for a lot of people, to see, um, the community kind of reflected in this way. The intimacy of your family and the way that you're presenting it really does unfold. I mean, it really does like embrace people as they go through, and I think it gives that warmth. Um, very, very well. And it's really been a great pleasure to have it.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, no, I could totally gush on your work, Mark. I think it's just incredible. Um, I want to take a second to talk about this incredible mural
Yeah.
that Fringe Projects was able to get. Where is it? First of all, if you could spend a minute telling us about where it's located, what is the building, and how these images kind of came together. Super impressive.
So last year, I believe, um, Fringe Projects contacted me. Fringe Projects Miami, which is a group that helps artists who don't usually do public artworks in Miami, and they thought that my works would be really amazing in the public realm. So I worked with them, and I agreed to work with them, and we walked around Miami, downtown Miami, and we decided on doing two murals. The first mural, which was chosen, is in the government center, and it's a daycare right in the middle of where everything is going on. And I had the idea because it's a daycare, and I thought about the protection for children. And there's a lot of kids in my family, my siblings. I have 7 nephews and nieces right now. So I just wanted to depict protection and a joyful environment for kids. So I thought about different patterns that brought me joy. So I focused on candies, like there's a peppermint candy in the background, there are mango leaves, and just different reference patterns throughout the total artwork. This was a very great experience, and I'm very grateful for Fringe Projects to work with me with this mural.
So this is another piece that had been sketched out at first and then
Hmm.
tweaked into the perspective so that it could be painted
Yeah,
within, almost looking at that
yeah,
side of the building as a canvas and creating an image that's formatted to that. You definitely get that. So it's a daycare facility, is what
yeah,
we're
it's a
looking.
daycare facility.
I mean, it's just the tenderness and the affection, the connection is just really conveyed through many of these pieces. So it's really, yeah, really quite
Yeah.
remarkable. And I love the mom uh, sleeping with the baby because that was my favorite thing to do. Every time I look at a baby now, I want to take a nap, in fact. And then here's a gorgeous detail. Look at this on the side. The shading. It really does give a sense of that great care that we've been talking about.
Yeah, this was a very great experience to work with and to see my work translated into a mural, which was
Yeah.
it's a very great opportunity, and also like made me want to work with this again. So hopefully in the
Yeah.
future, and I worked with the unconventional group, they helped painted this. Like I designed it, and Unconventional Group, they really depicted my artworks in a very beautiful way. And
Mhm.
then it was great to work with them because I never done a mural before this.
Yeah, and to work with to work with people to help you to produce
Yeah,
something large is also very exciting. Um, the idea of collaborating outside your studio is a great opportunity. So um,
there was
this,
this. Oh, yeah.
now, I'm sorry. Did you want to just say something else before we move on?
No,
Okay,
no.
okay. So, and then finally, so you were just in the consortium with this new body of work. Here you are with these really gorgeous, they're large paintings on paper, but multimedia. So
Hmm.
this is your newest series.
Yeah, this is my newest series called Named and Enveloped by the Sun. And within this series, my main idea was to show a depiction of the people I love protected in a sun-filled environment where they're hugged by the sun. And there are 9 pieces in the series so far, and within each piece, I bring in the mango leaf pattern, and which you've seen in the other pieces in the Art and Culture Center exhibition.
Hmm.
But with this series, I heavily lend to mango leaves. And within my life in Miami, growing up, my parents have 2 large mango trees. So different moments in my life I could think of which season of mango season it was. So with this body of work, it's referencing just moments in life and the cycle of a mango season in contrast to the cycle of life and appreciation for life and the good and the bad. So that's my spiel on this series that I'm still working on and hope to grow more in. This is Enveloped by the Sun number 6. And
So,
yeah.
and this also is like, so it's painting, but
Mhm.
more, there's, I think, more of a glue, some of the colored, you get a sense of the materials down around the border. That's like a
Mhm.
fabric. And
Yeah.
then within these leaves, you can see this kind of gold. It's like a glue, like a glitter glue. What is
Yeah,
the, or acrylic?
it's glue, just using glue as a drawing material. I've
Hmm.
been I really wanted to reference sewing onto my paperwork, and I just couldn't figure out how can I reference the strong line work of a sewing machine onto paper. So I've been using glue, and it's very thick and it takes a long time to dry, but I
Yeah.
think the outcome is really great. And if you see these works in person, they're very textured and very
Yeah.
colorful.
Yeah. That must be difficult trying to use it to create a line because it is so thick. Um, but
Yeah, when I first started it, I tried to control it a lot. And then as I'm continuing the series, I just let go, and whatever happens, happens. And it's I'm noticing with let the artwork be what the artwork wants to be. Which is, if you hear the thunder, it's rainy here. But let the
and
artwork,
rumbling here too, which is funny.
yeah. But as I was saying, let the artwork be what it wants to be. And within this series, I learned to not be so rigid on my artworks and so controlling.
Mhm.
So in these pieces, this piece and the piece in the previous slide, I didn't particularly know how it's going to look at the end, but I'm glad at how they turned out.
Yeah. I yeah. I'm just crazy about this new series because I think there is like a really wonderful play of things being exact. Like, the portrait of this little boy's face is just like
Mhm.
so detailed, so precise and specific. And then he's like just kind of against all of this kind of pattern and things moving around him, like he's in this bright, colorful world that is, you know, not straight lines, not filled with straight lines.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. So it's like you show kind of both skills and let yourself loose and let yourself free, which I think is always a good thing. So
Yeah, to play on control and letting go, which is I'm naturally an artist who is very messy. And then I taught myself how to be more clean. And then I realized I could be messy. So it's like that back and forth.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
taking the
you.
time to speak with me, and and really with the show, it's been such a treasure. It's really been great to work with you. I'm gonna miss you.
Thank you so
And
much. It's been great working with you too. And
let's
see,
keep in touch.
yes.
And I apologize to, I wanted to look on Facebook to see if there's any questions, but unfortunately I'm not able to get it on my phone, which is why there was a lag time in the beginning, because I was thinking that I'd be able to see on my phone if there was any comments. But we do encourage you to make some comments and to make some questions, and we can certainly get back to you, and we encourage you to see the show or reach out to us if you're not able to make it in time. But thank you so much, Mark. And also, the opportunity to go to the consortium as well and see your latest body of work in the South Florida Cultural Consortium. So congrats again.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you.
everyone for watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks everybody for watching. Take care. Bye.
Bye.